One of the many things that inspires me about Nipsey Hussle was that he was a proud reader. He was and remains a great example of what it means to read with a purpose and a natural curiosity that helped him accomplish his goals and become a more thoughtful observer of the world around him.
Can you express to people how important it is to read? Because I personally think that if you read, even if you didn't finish college or this, that, and the third, but if you read, you can educate yourself. Can you express that to the people out there?
I feel the same way, bro. I didn't really graduate high school. You know, I left early when I was like 14, but I was always, had books around me. My mom always, kept books in the house and made it important that I was well versed.
Yeah.
So it's a habit I just kept as I grew older. Yeah. And I just read things I was interested in. I started off reading magazines, That's how I learned about hip-hop culture outside of LA. Right. By reading like XXL and The Source, hearing about classic albums from other places and all that.
Right.
And then, like, anything I was interested in, I read the magazines about it. Right. And I just start getting into books. And just like you said, a lot of my best ideas, a lot of my business savvy, which I ain't the smartest dude, but I know what I know. Came from books. Like I read books about the industry. I read books about the deals that was done in the industry.
Right.
And these dudes, held out and made certain decisions that empowered them for the rest of their career.
You can look down Nip's reading list and find all different parts of his character. With Contagious, you see Nipsey, the innovator and visionary. With Conscious Capitalism, you see his dedication to his community with entrepreneurship. With Way of the Superior Man, you see the strength of his purpose and drive to be a better man every day. But the book that I want to focus on for today is The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which shows Nipsey as the radical thinker and activist that he was. The Spook Who Sat by the Door was written by Sam Greenlee, a novelist, poet, teacher, and activist from Chicago, and published in 1969. From 1957 to 1964, he was a Foreign Services Officer in the United States Information Agency, or known as the USIA, becoming, in his words, a master propagandist. He served in Iraq, East Pakistan, Indonesia, and Greece. And during his time in Greece, he started writing this novel, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. So, quick summary, this novel follows the journey of Dan Freeman, the first black officer hired by the CIA. After years working without a promotion, Freeman takes the espionage skills and knowledge he learned from the CIA back to Chicago to lead a group of black freedom fighters. So this novel had a big influence on Nipsey Hussle, and aside from just referencing the book on his track Blue Laces 2, he wanted to name his last album in his 3-album deal with Atlantic, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Just like Dan Freeman, the main character in the book, Nipsey wanted to take all the information he learned at the label after years of being independent back to his community so he could better teach them about the music industry. This act of going into the system and using the system's information against it brings to mind one of the central questions of Black liberation, which is whether participation in established power is true power, whether or not integrating into the system that enslaved us can also help free us, or if we'd be better off creating our own system, our own sovereign political and economic infrastructure that is for us and by us. So this quote unquote system or the man looks different in different contexts. In this example of the music industry, it's the big three record labels, Universal, Sony, and Warner Music, who have made an incalculable sum off of black music, taking anywhere from 50 to 90% of artists' earnings for decades. The system is also Wall Street, whose banks have denied black people access for decades to own homes and start businesses. And when they did, like in the years leading up to the financial crash of 2008, gave us subprime mortgages at 3 times the rate of white people with similar income level and credit, and consequently lost black people $200 billion in foreclosed homes by 2012. The system is also obviously the US government. I mean, I don't think I have to say much here. And I just want to ask, what more information do we really need about the quote unquote system? Do we just need patience for more black billionaires and black politicians to ameliorate our troubles, or is another path needed? Or to keep going down this rabbit hole of questions, is there even a we or us at all? Is it possible to organize all of Black people to liberation, or will most Black people just always be victim to the system? What does liberation or freedom for Black people even mean when we can never disentangle from the whims of white people? This is a handful of questions that I've thought about for a while regarding Black liberation that I still don't have answers to, but I'm certain that whatever we do, we will need two things. We will need imagination and courage. The imagination to see things that we have no evidence for, and the courage to follow that imagination into the unknown.